Welcome back to the part 2 of the channeling session. Divine Masculine's life is pointless and meaningless without the DF. And this is what he feels. This is what his emotion is, that his life is really pointless without her presence. So, let's get started. In this channeling session, the Divine Masculine has gotten his moment of pure enlightenment or awakening, you would say, because he is mirroring the feelings and emotions and the ascension journey of the Divine Feminine, where Divine Feminine has figured out that her mission is why she is here on planet Earth, and she is in complete devotion with the Source. And the Divine Masculine realizes that his mission on planet Earth is to be with the Divine Feminine and be her supporter, be her cheerleader, be a very loyal, loving partner, which he actually is. It's not like he's not that type of a person. So, and how does this happen? I'll tell you how this happens. This happens, first it happens in the feminine. First, it happens in such a way that she's going through the stages, the final stages happen, and she gets into the complete detachment mode. Now, if you're a Divine Feminine who's been on this ascension journey for a long time, you must have realized that this detachment was always there in you, but it was not there in completion. You would get detached, then you would come back to the samsara, then you would detach, then come back to the samsara again. So it was on and on and on and off. And the same thing was reflected in the twin flame journey, while every time the runner chaser dynamic happened. So you would chase the masculine because you would get insecure and you would fear the abandonment issue, and suddenly from loving your own company, suddenly some old fear would come up. So in the initial stages, obviously you don't know, because you're like, okay, I went for my meditations, I did my inner work, and I feel so much better, because initially it was about making yourself feel better and empowered. How this whole inner work starts to make sense is because every time she would get totally depressed and down in the dumps because of her relationship with the DM, or in general how her life would go on. If she's in false twin relationship, then that would have the same impact, because the purpose of the universe is simply to get her into the inner work and get her to remember who she is. It doesn't matter. They can do it through a soulmate. They can do it through a negative soulmate is what I mean. They can do it through the false and twin, and they can do it through the Divine Masculine also. But the goal is to get her into the ascension mode. So when she understands that, she gets into this downer mode and she gets into this really sad zone, now she has to uplift herself, because the DM runs away after that. So once the masculine is gone, she is all by herself. He has dumped her or blocked her or just ignored her or got into a karmic situation or whatever it may be. It's different for different people. Then she gets into solid inner mode and inner work mode, and she becomes amazingly sassy and cool and how she is, because she knows how to empower herself, or she's in the space where she's learning how to empower herself. First time she does it for 3 months, he comes back again. Then second time 6 months, but he goes back and comes back again, and then it goes on happening, and at one point it's like really too much. So a lot of people think that it's only the runner who runs away from this, but that's not true. When the Divine Feminine is done with this runner chaser dynamic, like she said, I've had enough. I can't keep doing this for the rest of my life. 6 months, he comes back, he says sorry, he's pleading to me, he wants me to get back to him. And then again, he goes away, again, he comes back, again, he goes away. And this cycle goes on repeating. So I cannot do this for the rest of my life. Then when he totally starts ignoring her, like she calls him up, messages, or tries to communicate, or even if they are together, like for some people, it can be they're together, but they are, they are not treating each other well. As in, the masculine is not treating her with respect. And she feels like, what is this? I mean, this is too much. And how much will I get humiliated just for the love? just in the name of love, how many times will I keep getting humiliated by this one person? Or if not one, if maybe she also could have karmics. It's not necessary only the masculine has karmic. And I am yet to do that channeling. There is some information about the karmics on the sides of both these people, masculine as well as feminine. So why the feminine gets karmics? Because the masculine treats her really badly, runs away, goes away, and she is in such a bad condition at one time, or she still has that love for the masculine, but the universe presents her with a karmic because she has been really good and loyal in the journey. It's because he dumped her so badly that her self-confidence gets completely shattered, and she starts thinking that she's really not good enough at all, like she's so bad. That's the time a karmic turn-ups who is really like everything, good looking, smart, attractive, funny, and he wants to take her out on dates. He wants to, make her feel very special. That's simply because the universe wants her to know that just because the masculine has rejected her does not mean she's not desirable, or she's not attractive, or she's not good looking. But when she hangs out with the karmics, or when she hangs out with, any other soulmate, that's the time she realizes that, okay, I don't feel like this for anyone else other than my masculine. And this can happen in cycles also. And for some people, this ascension journey is long. It doesn't happen in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So all of you genuine divine feminines out there who are actually in the journey for quite some time, you would know. It can be for 5 years or 6 years also. It's not necessary it has to be 10, 12 years. The intensity has to be the same. For some people, it can only be for 2 years, 1.5, 2 years. But the runner-chaser dynamic is so, like 2 years, 3 years is minimum, in my opinion. Runner-chaser dynamic is so strong, and the separation phase, the fights, the ignoring, it's like so intense that for some people, it can be equivalent to a longer period of time. But then they have a different type of journey. And as I had said in another channeling, that we must never compare our journey, because we have past life record also. We have past life continuation, progression, templates, everything. So you never know in the past life, the people who are doing this journey only for 5 years, 6 years, in the past life, they did like 50, 60 years already extra. Or, they were born in a time which was very dark. So falling in love with someone was a big taboo. Or it was literally like, getting like a death sentence. Or they maybe did face a death sentence because of that. So you never know what has happened to who. And in some cases, the false twin journey is so long that because of the intensity of the false twin journey, the time that divine feminine and masculine, who are the real ones for one another, they don't have to spend as much time in this dynamic, because both of them have gone through really bad false twin, very toxic situations already. So after spending say 4 years, 5 years with a false twin, then they meet and then they spend another 3-4 years doing. So it becomes like almost the same. So there is no justification, no comparison. And some people may also start the twin flame journey very early in life. Like they might just start at 14, 15. And 16, and they're already researching. They could be very old souls. That's why they've started so early. So we don't know what goes on for who. Maturity, immaturity, all of these things are part and parcel. But coming to this channeling, the collective channeling, this is a collective channeling. The basic factor, the basic essence of this channeling is that the divine masculine has realized that his mission is. And the biggest factor that leads to this is the ego self. Now, I had to do all of this explanation so that you understand that this dissolving, this total dissolution of the ego, it takes time, and it takes experience, and it takes pain. And pain is not always an enemy. Suffering is definitely an enemy, because suffering is a choice. Pain can happen to anyone. Even having a back pain is a type of pain. Even having a cut on your finger is a pain. Or losing a pet is a pain. There are different types of pain, and every pain can be very intense, and every pain will, have something to turn around and look into. But suffering is something that you have the power to do. Like you can suffer for 10 years for a small thing. Like I know some people who keep repeating what happened to them 40 years back, even now, with the same intensity. They keep talking about it like, okay, 40 years back, this person did this to me, they did that to me, they did this to me. Now, time has changed. This is a new world. Everything is changing. Technology has changed. Lifestyle has changed. But in their head, they are still suffering because they keep remembering that pain. So that's why we also have to be very careful that we should not be living in the past. We should, move on and forgive the divine masculine. And we should not just forgive the divine masculine. It's easier to forgive others. It's more difficult to forgive our own self. First of all, we need to learn how to forgive our own self for making those mistakes so that we don't repeat those mistakes again. Now, he has realized the role of time. Earlier, when he was impatient in this journey, when, she would say, let's do this, let's do that, he would be like, what the hell are you talking about? I can't do this. I don't have the time to do this. Now, and she would say, hey, if I go away from you, then you will really regret this time. And he would say, oh, please, come on. I really don't have the time for this. I'm getting distracted and blah, blah, blah. Now, when she's actually gone in the long separation, when she's fed up, when she's done with this running and chasing, she's like, okay, you know what? This time I am done. I'm done with this shit. I'm done with this nonsense because I don't have any more energy. And obviously she has learned over the years, she has learned how to empower herself, and she has now figured it out that it all lies within her. So now she really wants to focus on herself and on her personal growth and development. So she says that to hell with this. I don't want to put my mind into it, because she already knows that we create our own reality. She has figured it out that she is creating this reality. She is creating this loop. And to get out of this loop, she has to do some deeper work, and she has to figure out where is this coming from. And for that, she doesn't want to see anyone. She's like, okay, now it's my time, and I am going to be my own best friend, and I'm going to be my favorite person, and I'm going to love myself so much. No one can even imagine the way I will love myself. I will show myself true love, and I will show everyone else how to love your own self. Okay? She takes it like a challenge. And suddenly, this whole madness of chasing the divine masculine, calling, messaging, this is all gone. And all of you would know this, all of you would resonate with this who have done this. Those who are still crying for the DM, oh, 2 years we have not spoken, oh, 4 years no contact, oh, I miss him so much, it's so bad. When I saw him for the first time, it was so beautiful, it was raining, and then it was suddenly sunlight, and he was wearing a blue shirt and, a white trouser, and I never forget how white that trouser was, how blue that shirt was, all of those things. It's like you are not even like this. If someone is doing that, they have not yet crossed the runner-chaser dynamic, by the way. The runner-chaser dynamic first has to be healed within the feminine. If she is going to keep missing him, thinking about him, running after him, like I said in part 1 also, if she's always constantly, pining for him, pining is something that you should not do at all. If you're doing that, then you're going to suffer. Whenever we, forget our own selves and we go after someone else in this manner, in this obsessed manner, then there will be a lot of suffering. So, but obviously these are cycles. So if you have to suffer, if it's in your destiny to suffer for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 7 years, if it's in the karma to suffer, if it's in the karmic process pattern to suffer, then you will suffer. Then you will keep on pining for him. You will not know what your mission is. You will not know that you exist. You will not know that you are also important, that somebody did bad with you and you need to show love to yourself. Your self-respect will not rise up. Your empowerment will be low. So when you get empowered and when your self-respect rises up, the day your self-respect rises up fully, that's the day his ego crashes. And when the ego crashes, my dear friends, that is the time he has this awakening moment. And then he has no shame or no qualms in saying that I've been I have come to planet Earth to help this girl, to support her, to love her, to cherish her, to be by her side. He won't have any of that issues because there's no ego. Earlier he was having ego in just saying I love you also. If she would say I love you, do you love me? He would be like, oh, if I tell her I love her, then she might think that I'm crazy about her, or she might just think that I'm not good enough, or how can I say that? I'm the guy, I'm the male. I have to act like I don't care, I don't have feelings. A lot of divine masculines hide their feelings. We all know that. We all know these things. They are very secretive about their feelings. And these are the things they regret later on. Let me tell you, whatever you're feeling bad about right now, these are the things he will regret. Eventually, he will regret it so much that it will be like, it will go mad because of that regret. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Like, why did I say this? Why didn't I stand by her? Why didn't I support her? Why didn't I fight for her? Why didn't I stop her? And in this channeling, especially, I saw a divine masculine who is in a party with the divine feminine. And good, I suddenly remembered that vision. Otherwise, I was about to end this channeling. So he is in a party with the divine feminine, and suddenly divine feminine meets some old friends. And they are good friends. Like, you know how you have spent a lot of time with some people, and though you may not be really great friends, and though you have moved on from that group, but after so many years you bump into them, you just start talking so much. Hey, we used to do this, we used to do that, we used to go there. And then in the party she completely forgets about the divine masculine, and the divine masculine keeps looking at her as to when will she turn around and look at me. He goes to the bar, he gets a drink, he is drinking, and she's dancing, or she's chit-chatting, or she's very happy, she's very excited to meet her friends, and she also completely forgets about him. And he sees all of this and he gets very angry, and he walks out from the party and he leaves her behind. And he goes downstairs in the car. Then she sees that he's not around. So that really upsets her too. That, like, you know, if he wanted to leave, he could have just told me that I want to leave. He could have at least messaged me. How can he just leave me alone and walk out like that? Now, these are all wounds. These are all, one person has, doesn't know how to, hang out. You are with the boyfriend, suddenly you meet old friends. Imagine you totally forget the guy, and the guy is in one corner and you are with your friends. Even that is not correct. So both of them have to do the journey. She is taking him for granted at that time, because at that time it's new, and these are the things that even the masculines get hurt about. Or from her perspective, she might think that I'm meeting these people suddenly after 5 years, 6 years. He should have stood by me. Why did he go away to the bar? He could have stood by me. I would have introduced him to everyone, and he did not. So if you talk to both of them, you will see both of them are correct in their perspective. Both of them have a valid point. So then he's sitting in the car, she calls him up, and then finally they meet. And he says to her that, you know what, I can't do this anymore with you. And he literally breaks up on that point. Like, he's like, I don't think I can do this relationship with you. It's like too much. It's getting too much. You have a very social life. And she goes like, come on, I don't even have a social life. I just met some people and you're going to react like this. And she starts like convincing him, and she goes like, don't do this. Why are you fighting? I love you. We should not do this. We had so many plans. We had to go here. We had to go there. We had, done so much effort for this one another. And he gets very adamant, like, no, I felt very insulted. My ego was hurt so badly. You didn't even think about me. You didn't even turn around to look at me. What were your friends thinking about me? That look at this guy. He's just some guy she's, out with for a one night stand or a fling, or he's not even important. He's just standing over there. He's not like some kind of a, like exclusive guy in her life. Maybe he's, he can be with anyone and she can just pick up any guy. He goes to that extreme level out of distrust. He also has his problems because he has been rejected way too many times by different girls for stupid reasons where he was not the culprit, or he always found someone who was only interested in having fun with him, not really knowing him, loving him, because again, he is also a different type of a guy. He's not like the other guys, so the girls don't understand him. He is mostly with the karmics, and the karmics don't have that much brain, they don't have that much soul depth, they don't have that much connection. They just see, okay, he's a good looking guy and whatever, he's smart to talk to, good to talk to for some time. They have their good time with him, and then they just ignore him, and that has created so much hurt in his mind. He has taken it all very personally. He doesn't realize it. He doesn't know this. So far, he has not gone that deep into the ascension journey. He just thinks that, he has some problem, and that's why he's getting abandoned. And now finally, okay, with those girls, it was still okay to get over them and move on from them because he was really not in love with them. But with the divine feminine, he actually is in love with them. It's with her. It's a real love situation. It's a soul love, soul connection. It's meant to be, like it's destined in the stars, that type of a connection. And he sees that she's doing similar things. She may not be doing similar things what the karmics have done, but she is, in his head, she is doing that. He is thinking that she is. So both of them have this crazy, horrible fight, and he drops her home or whatever. She just said, I'm leaving from here, and they just go their own separate way. Now, when they go home and when he's in separation, now comes the separation phase. Now, when the separation has become too intense, too difficult for him to deal with, he starts thinking of all the things that he could have done, he could have said to her at that time. He starts realizing that maybe she really loves me, maybe I was being arrogant. And then she, on the other corner, she also starts thinking that, I should not have tried to convince him so much. I should not have really begged him for this, and I should have just given him the time and space without reacting much. Like if he said, no, you don't love me, I would have just said, I love you, but then it's up to you. So even her reaction was very volatile and very intense, is what she thinks. They won't have thought all of this if they would have been together. This consideration and this compassion has come after separation. In this case, I don't see any karmics. I only see karmic pattern. I only see karmic templates, which is addiction. There is alcohol. I see parties. The girl is going for many parties. She's meeting many people, many different guys, many different friends. Not to hang out with them or date them, like just to kill time, because she's very bored without the masculine and she doesn't know what to do. So in that, she learns how to do real inner work, and she figures out that instead of going to all these places and all these people who don't really make her happy, trying to kill time, trying to pass time, it would be better that she would do something worthwhile. Then she also understands about her mission, because he doesn't come back. This long separation has become so long because she is also initially not focused on the mission, on doing the actual inner work, right? So finally, when she figures it out, she's a solid. She knows how to create her own energy, loving energy. And for that, she doesn't have to be a people pleaser. She's always been a people pleaser. And that's why the self-respect quotient was low. Now she builds so much self-respect that if someone says something to her, like, let's hang out, let's meet, says hi or bye, she doesn't really care, because as long as they are not making her feel good, like, you have those friends who always come to meet you after every 6 months or 1 year, or once in a while they will drop in a hi, and they still expect you to be, prepared, always ready, like a carpet, like a red carpet, always be welcoming them. Now she doesn't welcome these people. If they message, she doesn't bother to reply, or she doesn't bother. She doesn't care. They don't exist. Anyone who's an energy vampire, they don't exist, and she doesn't care. So she has built up her self-respect, and this has crashed his ego, and now he has no shame in showing love to her, showing PDA to her. So he's thinking that I should give roses to her. At one time, he would say, no, I'm not going to give roses to anyone, not even her, because it would look so cheesy, it would look so corny, or it would be so weird. Okay, if you don't like to, give flowers, because I just feel that it's totally pointless giving flowers to one another. Maybe something else, maybe a love letter, maybe, something special, something she likes to do, maybe be a part of some of her project, something nice, something that uplifts her in a loving way, like not upliftment that she needs, but the relationship perspective. So he has also figured these things out, that if I want to make her feel happy, that doesn't mean that my ego will come in the picture, because ego is just an illusion. It is actually stopping me to be with her. It is actually like how it happened in the party. It was nothing but ego that got hurt. He just felt that what would those people say? The people. So she is a people pleaser, but he is also a people pleaser. He is also mirroring, but in a different way. He is getting pleased by the attention that people are giving him, or the validation people are giving him. And that's why he's taking the validation from people who don't even matter. Like they might be in his life for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 40 years, 30 years, but they don't really, he doesn't have a soul connection with them. It's just for the sake of having a group, having a gang, having like a fam jam, or having a relationship, like friendly relationship, a brotherly relationship for such a long time. So now I have to commit to it. So now he has understood that he should not be committing to things that don't matter to him, or things that are not even important. Now he wants to commit to the right person, to the right cause, to the right things. So, my dear friends, on this channeling, finally he says to her that, even though the time passes by, but in my mind, it's only you. Your thoughts are always with me. They're omnipresent. My relationship with you is omnipresent. It will omnipotent, omnipresent, like how they say, how source is always there with you. He feels the same love for her. Like my love with her is always going to be. And then he says that without you, even if I have this happiness, these parties, this money, or, a great lifestyle, or anything of that nature, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's a total waste. I don't even feel happy without you. Like, what the hell will I do with these things? And earlier, when he was running away from her, or when he ignored her, when you broke up with her, these are the things that were important for him. Now, in another situation, I would say that, maybe he said that I have to go to another country or another city because this job really matters to me, or this business really matters to me. And she really begs to him, she pleads him that please don't do this. She convinces him, don't do this, don't go away to another country. It will spoil what we have, our relationship won't go well, this and that. And he's like, no. And he goes away. And this gives her a major heartbreak, because she feels, not in an egotistical manner, but she genuinely feels that, why did he do that? Why did he just leave me? He could have asked me also to come along. It can be anything of that nature. Now, when he's in another country, when he's doing what he wanted to do away from her, when he said that, no, this is my life, I want to do this, I don't want to be with you, I'd rather do this. Now he's realizing that it's not making him happy. On the contrary, he's miserable. He's miserable with this lifestyle, with living alone without her. And this kind of reminds me of a movie, of a Bollywood movie, which I saw a few years back, where there was this character of a very, player, very Casanova kind of a guy. And, he was with this girl, and he says to her that, no, I cannot commit to anyone. I cannot be this type of a guy. And she tells him that you love me. And he's like, how do you know? He's like, I don't know, but I know it. I know you love me and you cannot do without me. You will be depressed. You will go crazy. And he's like, oh, come on. I'm not built that way to fall in love with someone, or even if I've fallen in love with you or I love you, but I don't think I can do this, this whole living with someone and, committing to someone, getting married or proposing. I just can't do it. I am a player. I'm a Casanova. I cannot, I don't know how I ended up being with a girl, for such a long time, but now I'm done with it. I want to go and get that job, my dream business or whatever. And she's like, okay, fine, go away, no problem. And she gets this heartbreak, and then she realizes, and this actually is in a movie, I saw it, and she realizes that she should do what she loves to do, and she's probably an archaeologist or something like that in the movie, I think. She goes and she does her thing, and she becomes very happy, from the person who was begging and pleading to him, convincing him. She's now very empowered because she realizes that, she doesn't have to go to anyone for this love. This love cannot be seeked to another person, from another person. She can develop it in herself. So she gets very empowered, and with her empowerment, this is mirrored, but first he goes through that really fucked up depressed space. He goes very crazy in the head. He cannot do, like earlier he was dying to live that life, now he cannot do one more day of it. It comes to that point that not one day but one more minute is killing him. It's killing his soul. So he goes to her, he rushes to her, he runs to her literally, and then he looks for her, he searches for her because he can't find her again. And that was also his fear, because now why would she care about me? It's been so long. I was gone for so long. You know, I spent like months, weeks, months and years doing whatever shit I was doing. And he was again trying to get into a relationship with someone. He was trying to, he thought that I can replicate this chemistry with another girl. That chemistry, that magical, loving chemistry that I have with her must have happened just like that, because maybe our personality is matched. So I can do it again. And forget about doing it again. He just cannot even strike a proper conversation, or, he gets bored, irritated, he gets disgusted with himself because he's constantly thinking about her, his feminine. So he says that, nothing matters to me. I'm not enjoying any of this. It feels like there is a fucking, like I'm actually getting the feeling right now, like there's a big dark hole in my heart, and I'm sucked into it, and I'm so desperate to come out of this. And please don't test my patience. He's like literally saying this to the feminine, you are testing my patience. You never call, you never message. It's like you have vanished. But he was the one who told her that don't call me, don't message me, don't talk to me, stay away from me. I don't want to see you again. You know what? You're getting too emotional. Are you stupid? Who talks like this? Who does this? Are you crazy? He even laughs at her. Are you crazy? Are you like seriously insane or what? Like you are really talking about love and all serious thing? Blah, blah, blah. He goes like that. He mocks her. And now he is getting mocked, and he's saying that I don't have any more patience. You are testing my patience. Why don't you just come to me? Why don't you just come back to me like how you used to always? I cannot live without you, man. I cannot. This life is becoming a drag. It's becoming a big burden that I'm carrying around. I can't carry it around anymore. I can't do this anymore. Please, please, please. He is doing this. He's saying this. And finally, he has gotten that moment of realization that he has to fix it now, because he spoiled it, he ruined it. You have to respect a person. If a person says that I came to you 10 times and you kept on telling me, after every 6 months, 2 months, 3 months, just go away, I don't want this, then for how long I will come? I also have self-respect, and I am a human being, and I can find ways to, if you can, find ways to keep yourself happy, so can I. So this is the exact energy of this channeling, and the visions I had, the 2 visions, and this movie reference that I gave, it's on the same energy. And if you get the energy, you get the channeling. More than the dialogues, more than the words, it's the energy that I'm trying to share with all of you. And on that note, I'm going to end this channeling. This is part 2, ends over here. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much for doing all the inner work. We are one big family, and what you do has a lot of impact on others as well. So keep sharing one love, and peace out.